guys, we are here with Jughead this afternoon. Yep, we are at Riverwalk in Rock Hill right now. Juggy and I are practicing his loose leash healing. As I've said in other videos, his mama wants to be able to take him out on hikes, and he's very big on wanting to stop and randomly sniff things and puts on the brakes hard. And so we're making sure that he understands, the difference between having some free time and when he is in a structured heel. So the main things to remember, especially with Jug, is reminding him, so like right there, I reminded him that he got a little bit too far. So your consistency when he comes home is going to be key. You have to make sure that every time he is getting to right there at that point where he's taking the lead and passing you, the sooner you correct that behavior, the better, okay? You don't want to wait until he's gone really far or he's pulling you to go smell something. Okay, so perfect. Let's say he's smelling something, right? Good boy. So if I hadn't given him any direction right there, what would have happened is he would have just pulled me right over to it. Now, another thing that's going to happen is if you lean into that and because he's pulling, you go with it, what's going to happen is you're showing him it's okay to move through pressure. He can't ever move through pressure, right? If pressure is on, he needs to either be in a sit position or pressure should only be a quick pop, right? So if pressure is on, it's only for this. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Right, you also want to make sure that your leash is up nice and high. The higher the better, right at the base of his skull. You don't want it down here where it's going to be on his trachea. You want it up here where it's framing his skull, so nice and high. And then you want to keep this centered, because what happens when this slips down there is you're going to try to apply pressure and see how it's like a U shape there. You want pressure to be a straight up and down, just like that. And it's very light pressure. You don't need to use a lot of force to get him to sit. It's more about consistency and follow through with it. So, okay. So less is more. If I stop and I'm holding this 1-2 fingers amount of pressure, right? Just 1 finger's worth of pressure. He even sees a squirrel right there, right? So I'm not going to be, because he's not sitting instantly, he's more focused on the squirrel than the force of pressure he's supposed to be paying attention to. So rather than this is talking to him, I'm not going to start yelling at him and add more pressure, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn in front of him, and then I blocked him from that distraction, which is making him go, oh, I got to pay attention. And then he realizes right away, oh, that little force of pressure is on. So it's more about your follow through on, hey, pressure's on, you need to pay attention, than it is about he's not paying attention, so let me add more force, start saying sit, start using his name. You don't need to do any of that, right? You just need to use yourself to get in front of him and block him and get him to realign and pay attention to you. Right, Jugs? And you're going to turn off of him, right? So if all the pressure is on and you use, this is spatial pressure, right? And then he sits, all the pressure is going to turn off at once. So if we're holding pressure, he doesn't sit. Rather than adding more tension, we're going to get him to pay attention by adding a second force of pressure, which is spatial pressure. Okay, heal. So when we're healing, it's important to use those pops, okay? So as soon as he gets ahead of me, I'm going to give him a pop. Pop right there. So because I already knew he was going to bend down and try and sniff that pothole, he wanted to do it. Okay, cool. We got another dog coming up and they're running and stuff. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to get myself to this side of the walkway where I am a blocker between Jughead and the distraction. So right off the bat, I'm going to get him into a sit position. Adjust his collar nice. Right, I'm just going to keep him in this calm state while this other little puppy passes by us. Good boy. He got up, and I'll just read. Check. Good boy. So right there, he tried to get up, and I just gave him a little pop to basically say, pay attention. Those pops are a way, those pops are a way for you to literally say, pay attention, or, basically don't do that, right? If you have to give him more than 2-3 pops, see, I gave him 2 pops, and clearly he was just going to try and go and pull me. Then I'm going to say, then we're going to calm down and go into this calm state of mind, because you don't get to move forward if you're that hyper, right? Right there, he tried to get up, so I reapplied pressure until he sat. He shouldn't get up until you say heel or okay. Oh, good boy. Those 2 letters means you're in free mode. So you don't want to say that when you start moving. You want to say heel as you take your first step forward to say follow me, okay? So you always want this just resting on your fingers, okay, just like that, and using pops to get him to pay attention. So you have pop, stop, and change directions, right? So right there, he's leading me, because if I were to turn left right now, that's what would happen. So you have to make sure that he is just slightly behind you like that, okay? So that means he's following me. But I guarantee you, look, he's not paying attention to me. See? He would have just kept on going, right? But I'm not going to apply tension and pull him back to me. What I'm going to do is give him a pop, which is telling him focus. Right? Just because we're over there doesn't mean he got you. We got another puppers coming up. So this time we're just going to walk on past this guy. Right? So if he gets too much, as soon as he passes me right there, we're going to... They're not moving, so we have to move. All right, so keep that nice and loose. Good boy. Morning. Right there. Good morning. All right, so nice and loose. We just give a couple pops. So he's not paying attention, right? So the whole idea behind healing is pay attention. So I'm going to turn right now, right? I'm going to get him to refocus on me because he's not paying attention. So right there, again, he's not paying attention. So I'm going to start turning. I'm going to start zigzagging. I'm going to start making him sit. Anything you can do to get him to start working for you is how you're going to get him to pay attention. You're not giving him an opportunity to sniff and smell and do all these other things because you're focused on doing other things, making him mentally work, which is how you're going to get your dog tired by taking them for a walk. It's not just about physical exercise, it's about mental exercise as well. So making sure you give him lots of things to do is important. So even just this zigzagging, right, turns... all of this is making him think. It's also slowing him down and making him realize I need to pay attention, because if I don't, pops are going to happen, or stops are going to happen, or I'm going to get bumped into because I wasn't paying attention. So always remember, can I make a left-hand turn without bumping into him? The answer is no, he wasn't paying attention. So you got to make sure that he's focusing on you. Otherwise, he's going to focus on other things. He's not just going to stand there and stare at you while you're walking straight in the same pace and not really giving him anything to think about. He's going to lose focus on you if you do that. If we're just kind of like, whatever. See, look, already he's kind of like, whatever, I'm going to do what I want, right? So I'm not going to allow that behavior. I'm the one that has to tell him, this is what I want you to do. Do this, do this, do this, do this, right? It's not about making him do whatever you're thinking of in your head without telling him, right? We can't just have him just walk straight, go at the same pace, and not be allowed to do what he wants to do. You either have to give him something else to do, or he's going to do what he wants to do. There's really only 2 options. So he does great, though. I mean, we haven't had any abrupt stops. Got another pup's coming up. Again, same idea, nice loose leash, just to pop, just to tell him to pay attention. Right, just still nice and loose. Good morning. Perfect, no pressure. Just pops. And slow him down a little bit. Juggy. So another good thing to do too is if he's trying to walk too fast and pops, you did a couple pops and he's still trying to pull on through and go fast, don't try to speed up to get in front of him. Slow down, okay? So see how much harder it is when he has to walk this pace with me rather than if I'm walking fast and he's trying to get in front of me, and right? It's harder. Okay. harder for him to have to pay attention to me when I'm going like this and not past me. But it's really good to help you as a handler kind of figure out exactly when to pop, because you're going slow enough that you can kind of pay attention to that, right? Nice and loose. Jughead. So I'm going to turn. Clearly he's not paying attention, right? So when he's not paying attention, it's not about using your leash to pull him places. It's about getting him to focus on you rather than everything else that's going on around him. Another pup's coming up. Good day. I didn't think we'd pass very many dogs since it's going to start raining soon, but... Okay, yep. So see how grass is always going to be more challenging because it retains scent. Concrete doesn't. That's a nice loose. Good boy, Jug. Heel. Right, so don't pull, pop, and release. Okay, that's perfect. Good boy, Jughead. Right there, started picking up pace a little bit, so I slowed him down just a touch. See how my leash is starting to slide. Now he's also done well with the transitional, but like I said, he's a bit of a drama queen when it comes to that. He puts his head down really low and just looks so sad. But he's fine. But I'm not forcing him to do it. He's doing fine. He's doing fine with it, and he's also doing great without it. So as long as you're not allowing him to pull through any pressure, that's the key. So that's what tends to happen when I have clients that do like any kind of training and their dogs start to slip on their heeling, is because of letting him pull through any force of pressure. Okay, so your leash always needs to be just resting on your fingers like this. You never want to close your hand, because look, that's pressure right there. Okay, so we're letting him move through pressure. Pressure can't mean red light and green light while we're walking. It always needs to be loose like this, where you see how it's a U shape. That's what you're always looking for. So if you're letting him pull through pressure, when you try and do pressure for a red light, it's not going to mean anything anymore, because he's confused. He's like, well, pressure means we walk. Why does pressure mean we stop also? So green light is only loose leash, right? You can't brake while you're driving. You can't hit the gas and the brake at the same time. This is your brake. This is your gas. Heel. Right, so gas. And then if you're getting up too far, like there's a car in front of you, brake. Right? So you don't like slam on your brakes, right? You don't do this. If you're just like, need to slow down just a touch, you just tap your brake. Same idea, tap your brake. Right, so right there, tap. He would have tried to go sniff whatever that is. And again, when you're heeling, I would recommend starting on somewhere like here and on roads to really practice your heeling skills, because like I said, grass retains scent and concrete doesn't. So when you're out hiking on a trail, it's gonna be more challenging because it retains scent. And when they're out on the grass and stuff like that, they tend to feel more like they're in free mode, and they don't have, they're going to like the bathroom or something. They're not really thinking as much along the lines of we're working right now. So we just want to, I would start them out on concrete paths, just like this, Riverwalk, less scent, and it'll kind of help you get a good routine down with him, where he starts to understand that you do the same thing that I do, where I just basically don't let him pass here, and I don't let him drop his head to start sniffing things. Now, if you want to give him a free moment to use the bathroom, you can say, okay, right? Bring him over to grass. And then you still just want to have a loose leash, okay? So even if he's using the bathroom, or you are heeling, you are hiking, and you don't really mind if he's not in a perfect heel next to you, you don't want to, you want to give him some room to just kind of sniff around and explore, that's fine. You can do that, but just make sure you say, okay, and you release him from the heel, and you don't let him pull even when you're going outside to potty, or you're, just like this. Right, so right now, okay, so let's say he's been sniffing here forever, right? Again, pop and release. Okay, Jughead. Pop and release. Right, so it's not a long pull, it's a quick pop. Think about starting a lawnmower. Pop and release. All right, and then we go right back into this nice heel. He's kind of like, oh crap, all right, we're walking. All right, but this is perfect. So right there, see how he kind of picked up his pace just a touch? I just clicked my tongue a little bit just to kind of say, hey, pay attention. He knows it, but he kind of like when he gets, distracted by something is when he loses the focus of, it's just like a little kid, As soon as they see something shiny or they see a toy they want, they forget that we're holding hands with mom, right? It's something like that. So, just keep him focusing on you. Do a lot of zigzags, do a lot of pace changes, do sit stays, anything you can. But I mean, he's doing great. We passed 4 or 5 dogs already. Not an issue with any of them. Hasn't been doing any short stops, anything like that. Just, trying to take the lead a little bit, but that's pretty good. I mean, we can get that down. That was a quick on and off. On, off. Right? So what happens if I just let him pull? That you're going to see him just pulling ahead. And if you keep moving while he's pulling ahead, you're telling him that that's okay with you when it really isn't okay with you. So you pop and release it. So you always want your leash to be loose, and if it isn't, then you need to put him in a sit position and calm him down. That's perfect. Right there, see how my U went away and it went straight? That's a good indicator. So just resting my fingers, see how the U went away? Pop. I got a U. Pop. All right, so see how I'm just kind of going straight and it's kind of boring and he loses it. You can see how quick it takes him to lose focus on you, right? About 2-3 seconds before he's kind of like, meh, whatever, right? And he starts to think about something else. So giving him things to do, so like it's quiet right now, so I'm going to start doing zigzags. Right? Now this harder, of course, when it's like a nice sunny day, but luckily you can see pretty far up ahead of you. Right, so we're just doing back and forth, so one side to the other, and this is making him think and pay attention. Now I'm going to do a full, see how I was forceful with my knee right there, and I was just like, nah, I'm going this way. You need to follow. Right, see how far back he's set because he's realizing I got to look and see where she's going, and I can't physically do that if I'm ahead of her. Nice. You don't want to get too far behind. If he does, you can just kind of like, good boy. See, too far ahead, right? Good boy. So yeah, he's doing really good. I'm really proud of him. We're gonna go, luckily we beat the rain. So we're gonna walk around here for a little bit and hopefully get to Cherry Park tomorrow before he comes home a few days. So we will be back with more of the Jugs. Have a good one.